Well, we're going to cover a few things today on In the In Between for July 2nd, 2026. Thing one is like I wonder whether or not, um, maybe you get the point. Somebody asked me if I speak from a teleprompter, and that's why my eyes don't always lock in on whatever camera's on me at the moment. And that is not what I do. I speak out of my mind's teleprompter. I know what this episode is about today. It's about coffee, having coffee. And I also don't use filler words like, you know what I mean. I prefer instead the pause to gather my thoughts, look up in my head, and continue on. So let's talk about having coffee. This is a simple story. A simple story about me opening up a $5.2 million luxury listing in Old Seagrove. We open up the listings for buyer's agents to come and show those homes. When that buyer agent walks in with their client, the experience we want them to have is opening the door and walking in and feeling that first 3 seconds and going, yeah, this house is ready to show. We open the homes, the lights are on, the rooms are presentable, the door is unlocked, and their client can now see that home in all of its glory. We provide other things that are part of our secret sauce that we're not going to tell anybody about that make our homes stand out. Even if it's not the one selected, they walk away from that home and it is clearly different what they've seen. And then after they are done showing the home and the buyer agent has walked away, we come back a little later that day, turn the lights off, lock it up. The worst thing in the world is for a buyer's agent to come into a house and start fumbling for lights. But we were supposed to be talking about having coffee. I'm preparing that home, and the client of the buyer agent, I have no idea who they are, comes up early, gets out of their car with their family. Great, feels good. And of course, they walk up to me and, well, I have an article on it below, and they reach out their hand to shake my hand. Perfectly normal behavior. And when they introduce themselves to me, they call out the other agent's name, nice to meet you. And I started thinking to myself, and I know it's true. And they do pretty good volume, some of them. They do. They pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for Zillow leads. And then they walk them around and try and get them in a house. It's a business model as viable as any other. Not my model. That would never happen on our team. It's in them that that's not who we are. If we're going to a luxury listing and the first time we're ever going to introduce ourselves is to a buyer we're working with is at that luxury listing, then that's a grade of F in our book. Coffee is where you get grade A. That is where relationships happen. That is where understanding happens. But meeting someone at the first home you're going to show them in a luxury setting, you've got to be kidding me. And that is the behavior that is accepted in the marketplace, and we even pretend to reinforce that, that's not a healthy place to be. I'm not sure I would get into what my friend had experienced, unfortunately, a domestic dispute. I'm not sure I would have him walk into court on the day of the arguments that need to be made to settle this all out. He reaches out his hand to his attorney and introduces himself to that attorney for the first time when he's about to litigate such a serious matter. We wouldn't tolerate that. I'm sure we'd have coffee with that attorney before we selected them and before we got into such a significant activity with them. I'm sure we would, wouldn't we? Expect better. That's in the in between for July 2nd, 2026. Thanks for watching.